In today's video, I'll walk you through a simple yet extremely effective 3-step process to fix patellar tendonitis, aka jumper's knee, all without ice, pain medication, and costly injections. Follow these steps closely and you should notice a major drop in pain. Let's get started. Phase 1 is isometrics. We're going to start with a special exercise designed specifically to take away your pain and re-engage your quad muscles that can be inhibited in strength output due to pain. In fact, research has shown the pain relief from isometric exercises like this can last sometimes up to 40 minutes after performing. But before I teach you how to perform it, you must try this test first. Perform 5 jumps in a row and 5 single leg hops. Rate your pain on a 0 to 10 scale. 0 being no pain and 10 being the worst pain you could ever imagine. And write down your answers. Next, perform the Spanish squat. Grab and loop a very rigid thick band around a squat rack or a pillar. The band should be placed behind the knee at the top of the calf, with your toes facing the band attachment. Then squat backwards while keeping your spine upright, like performing a reverse wall sit. Don't hinge at your hips as if performing a normal squat, as that will unload the desired force off the quads and transfer it to the hips. Perform 5 reps for 45 seconds. Now, retest your jumps and your hops. If you're truly dealing with patellar tendonitis, you should now notice less pain. However, if you didn't and your pain intensity is the exact same, you're likely not dealing with tendonitis and rather a different type of knee pain. For that, I would check out my injury fix book, Rebuilding Milo. It contains my exact approach to evaluating and fixing common injuries all over the body. I'll have a link to Rebuilding Milo in the notes for this video. But for now, let's move on to step 2. To rebuild tendon strength, there are 2 important factors: relative rest and heavy, slow resistance exercises. Now, contrary to the general advice of some doctors, complete rest is not how you fix tendonitis. This is something the world's leading expert on tendon injuries, Jill Cook, talks about time and time again.
We know that rest is bad for tendons. Tendons must have load on them virtually every day to maintain structure.
So while we want to limit painful activities in the short term, we must gradually reload the tendon with exercise to help it recover. This is especially important for activities that use your tendon like a spring when jumping. So for now, cut back on basketball or volleyball practice time and remove plyometrics from your workout. But then we need to load your injured tendon. While the isometric Spanish squat is great for decreasing pain temporarily, it doesn't increase tendon strength, called your load tolerance level. For that, we need to use strength training exercises. Now, in the past, a physical therapist would do a single leg squat on a decline board or angled plate. This is because the decline squat specifically targets the patellar tendon 25 to 30% more than when performing this exercise on flat ground. But this exercise is often too aggressive for many and can cause pain. Rather, recent research has shown that performing traditional strength training exercises with a very slow tempo can be just as effective as eccentric only exercises without causing more pain. There's 2 exercises that I use for this purpose. The squat is a great way to start loading the patellar tendon. Now, if you can squat deep without pain, by all means continue doing so. However, if you have knee pain at full depth, limiting your squat descent to a predetermined height with a box squat may be needed for now. Set your feet in a stable position in the exact squat stance that you regularly use. Take a breath and brace your core before starting your descent. While remaining balanced with body weight spread across your full foot, sit straight down onto the top of the box but remain tight. Do not rock back, but instead only pause in the bottom position for a second. Then slowly stand back up. Initially during the healing phase, moving quickly during a squat may elicit more pain. For this reason, you should take 3 seconds in the eccentric phase and 3 seconds in the concentric phase, meaning each rep in total takes 6 seconds to perform. Start off with 4 sets of 15 repetitions every other day for the first week of this program, using your isometric Spanish squat as your warm-up. As far as your progression after week 1, at the end of this video, I'll show you a full routine completely written out. While the squat is a great exercise, you can many times unknowingly load one side of the body more than the other due to pain. For this reason, using single leg exercises, like the Bulgarian split squat, will expose any asymmetries and ensure that you're loading the injured tendon adequately. To perform the Bulgarian split squat, start by sitting at the edge of a bench with your knees at 90 degrees. Extend one knee and secure your foot to the ground. Then stand up and grab your weight. and place your rear foot on the bench. This step-by-step method will ensure you achieve the same stance length every time. Next, with your foot firmly rooted to the ground, open your hip up slightly to stabilize your lower body. Then, perform a small hinge before then squatting straight down, thinking about keeping 90% of your body weight through your front leg, while your back foot only acts as a kickstand for balance. Just like the squat, you want to perform these with a very slow 3-second descent, a 1-second pause in the bottom, and a slow 3-second descent, and perform 4 sets of 15 repetitions for the first week. Now before we move on to step 3, let's test your progress. While I don't like using the single leg decline squat as a training exercise, we can use it as a daily test to gauge how well your body is responding to the prior strength exercises and using the right amount of load. Start by performing the single leg decline squat before a training session and ranking the amount of pain you have on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is no pain and 10 is the worst pain imaginable. That number is your baseline score. Perform the same test 24 hours after your training session to see if you are using the correct loads for your body. If you are using the right amount, your pain will be the same as the day before or get slightly better. If it's better, increase the weight your next session. If your pain increased, you used too much load and you need to decrease weight during your next session. Now comes the last step in patellar tendonitis rehabilitation, returning to plyometrics. The highest loads placed on the patellar tendon occur when we use it as a spring to store and release energy in order to generate large amounts of power. This is why sports such as basketball and volleyball that involve a high amount of jumping also have a high incidence of tendinopathy, a reason why this injury is also known as jumper's knee. For this reason, we eventually need to load our tendon like a spring if we want a complete rehabilitation. Now before this stage, you should no longer have any pain with the single leg decline squat. If your knee still hurts, just continue with the isometric and strength work for a few more weeks. There are 3 stages of plyometrics that range in tendon load from easiest to hardest. The most simple low-level plyometric is a small double leg jump. Start with 10 jumps in a row before resting for a few minutes and perform 3 to 4 sets. Notice how your tendon responds to this loading while jumping and within the next 24 hours. If you feel great during and do not have any increase in tendon pain the next day, you can increase the amount of reps you're performing until you reach 4 sets of 20 jumps. Medium-level plyometrics will include higher tuck jumps, depth jumps from a small to medium height box, and multiple double leg jumps for distance over hurdles. If you're a runner, adding in acceleration and deceleration drills along with cutting or change of direction may be a good option at this time. After a few weeks of progressing these drills, if you're continuing to feel good, you can progress to higher level plyometrics like single leg jumps over hurdles. Here's an example rehabilitation plan for phase 1 and 2 written out as a 12-week program. During these phases, shoot for strength days 2 to 3 days a week, with your off days still performing your isometric Spanish squats. Once you can start your plyometric phase, stagger it with your strength days and give yourself a few days to recover before your next plyometric day to allow for sufficient recovery and adaptation. Now, if your knee pain just doesn't seem to be getting better with this routine, it's very likely you're not dealing with true tendinopathy, even though you may have pain in that tendon region. Rather, your injury is likely due to a problem at the hips and/or ankles, and you would benefit from the method I share in this video.